Rain hammered the tarmac like 1,000 tiny fists as Ethan Cole wiped the sweat from his brow, squinting through the downpour. His hands, calloused and cracked from years of hard labor, tightened their grip around the wrench. Every bolt he twisted was another prayer whispered into the storm. Ethan wasn't supposed to be here. The airport had sent the senior mechanics home for the night, and he, the rookie barely hanging on after being laid off from 3 jobs, was the only one desperate enough to take a midnight call. He couldn't afford to say no. His mother's hospital bills, his sister's tuition, and the mortgage on their crumbling childhood home depended on every extra dollar he could earn. The call had been frantic, a private jet stranded, its engines coughing in dying moments before takeoff. No one had told Ethan who owned it. He didn't care. Every engine was a puzzle, and every puzzle was a chance to prove he was worth more than the world had ever given him credit for. But as he scrambled under the belly of the jet, soaked to the bone, he caught a glimpse of something unusual. The plane was gleaming, not just in the way private jets usually gleamed, but as though it belonged to another realm altogether. The logo near the door read Archer Industries. Ethan's heart thudded. Archer Industries wasn't just another company. It was the company, the one that had built half the tech the world depended on. Its CEO, Madison Archer, was a legend. Young, fearless, richer than whole nations. Ethan pushed the thought away. It didn't matter who owned the jet. What mattered was getting it fixed before the storm worsened. Crawling under the fuselage, Ethan found the problem, a faulty ignition relay deep in the core, wedged in a place no standard technician would have thought to look. He didn't have the part. He barely had tools that worked. He used what he knew, what his father had taught him before cancer stole him away: when parts fail, hands must think. Hours later, with a makeshift fix crafted from raw ingenuity, the jet roared back to life, its engines cutting through the night like a defiant heartbeat. Soaked, filthy, and exhausted, Ethan stepped away from the plane as the cabin door swung open. He expected a gruff nod from some faceless billionaire's assistant. Instead, he saw her. Madison Archer was nothing like the cold magnate the media painted. She was small, shivering slightly under an umbrella, her sharp gray eyes scanning the scene before landing on Ethan. She walked straight toward him, heels clicking even against the wet concrete. "You," she said, her voice low but clear, "saved my life tonight." Ethan shrugged awkwardly. "Just did my job, ma'am." She tilted her head. "Everyone else said it couldn't be fixed until morning. That I'd have to miss the meeting. Lose the deal. Lose the company. You didn't listen to that. I guess. I just couldn't let a good machine die," Ethan said, laughing a little, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Madison studied him, as if trying to read something written between his scars and oil stains. In that moment, something shifted. Something neither of them could name yet. "What's your name?" she asked. "Ethan. Ethan Cole." "How much do they pay you?" she asked bluntly. Ethan hesitated. "Not enough." She smiled, not the corporate smile she wore in photographs, but a real, weary, grateful smile. "Come with me." He blinked. "I'm sorry." I said, "Come with me." Still stunned, Ethan followed her to the hangar, where her team of assistants were scrambling to rearrange plans. Madison waved them off. Inside, under the buzzing fluorescent lights, she turned to him. "How much debt are you in?" she asked softly. Ethan wanted to lie. Wanted to seem strong. But something about her disarmed him. "About 200,000, he admitted. "Mostly from my mom's surgeries, my sister's college." Madison nodded, almost as if she expected that answer. She reached into her coat, pulled out a pen, and scribbled something on the back of a maintenance form. She handed it to him. It was a check. For $200,000. Ethan's mouth went dry. I can't accept this. I didn't do it for." She interrupted, her voice suddenly fierce. "You didn't fix the jet for money. That's exactly why you deserve it. Tears he hadn't felt coming burned at the corners of his eyes. He shook his head. I can't take charity. Madison laughed, a deep, musical sound that warmed the cold space between them. It's not charity, Ethan. It's an investment. An investment in what? He croaked. In you. In that moment, something even more unexpected happened. Madison stepped closer. Close enough that Ethan could see the raindrops tangled in her hair, the exhaustion in her eyes, the humanity beneath the billions. I've met every kind of person money can buy, she whispered. But you're something money can't touch. You remind me that the world isn't as broken as it seems. Ethan couldn't breathe. He didn't dare move. Marry me, Madison said suddenly, her words tumbling out faster than the storm outside. Silence stretched between them like a live wire. Ethan laughed, thinking surely he'd misheard. You don't even know me. I know enough, she said. I know you're the only man in 1,000 miles who saw a broken thing and didn't give up. Who gave everything he had without expecting anything in return. Who reminds me what it's like to believe in something. Still half convinced he was dreaming, Ethan shook his head, dazed. People don't just propose like this. Maybe they should, Madison said, her gaze steady. Against all logic, all reason, Ethan felt something deep inside him answer her. Not the desperate, aching hunger for money, or fame, or escape, but something older, something harder to name. Hope. Faith. A belief that maybe, just maybe, two broken souls could build something whole. He took her hand. At least let me take you to dinner first, he said, grinning through the tears now spilling freely down his face. She laughed again, bright and wild and utterly beautiful. It's a deal, Mr. Cole. They didn't marry that night. They didn't even kiss. They shared a burger and fries at a dingy 24-hour diner, laughing until their ribs hurt, talking about dreams, about failures, about all the parts of themselves the world had tried and failed to crush. 6 months later, Ethan stood at the end of a beachside aisle, wearing a tuxedo that still felt foreign against his skin. Madison walked toward him, barefoot in the sand, a simple white dress fluttering in the sea breeze. No tabloids. No headlines. Just two people who found each other on a stormy night when everything else had been broken. In her vows, Madison said, "You taught me that being rich doesn't mean being whole. That the real wealth is finding someone who sees you when the world looks away." And in his vows, Ethan said, "You reminded me that hope isn't something you earn, it's something you give away, even when you have nothing left." Together, they built more than a company. More than a fortune. They built homes for the homeless. Funded scholarships for struggling mechanics. Created a foundation that rebuilt broken lives the way Ethan had rebuilt that engine, with love, with grit, and with the quiet, stubborn belief that nothing truly good is ever beyond repair. And for the rest of their days, whenever the rain came down hard and cold, Ethan and Madison would smile at each other across the years, remembering the night a struggling mechanic and a lonely billionaire found something no storm could ever wash away: home.